Hello and welcome to Stand Up Historian. My name is Kurosh and I bring this show to you from beautiful Seattle, Washington. Tomorrow is the festival of Purim or celebration of Purim in Jewish tradition in all synagogues in the United States. In Israel today was Purim. And as you know, and most people know, the story of Purim is about Queen Esther of Persia. She's a Jewish prince. She's a Jewish girl, marries the Persian king, and you have heard this story. And she saved her nation, her people, when it was time. So she was married to the king, but the king did not know that she's Jewish. When time came, in fact, she influenced the king and she saved her people from total annihilation. And there is another Iranian Jewish or Persian Jewish woman, very significant in Persian history and Jewish traditions, by the name of Shushandokht. Shushandokht, which is, in fact, the name is Shushan and Dokht. Dokht is for dochter, which means daughter, and you can see the word is exactly the same. And I believe even in German it is pronounced with a ha and not just like English daughter. So she is Queen of Persia, the wife of Yazdgerd the First. So the historical timeline is Queen Esther. She lives during the Achaemenid kingdom, and between her, which was around 490 480 BCE, and Shushandokht, she lives almost 1,000 years later during the Sassanid kingdom in Persia, and it's CE by the time that Shushandokht is there. So there is a 1,000-year gap between these two Jewish women. What's interesting is in Persian traditions, there is not much about Shushandokht. In fact, I was searching to see if we have the name, and I could not find that name and any variation of that in today's Persia, even among Jewish people. Some of you maybe know that I have a Jewish heritage, Persian Jewish heritage. But what's fascinating is these days Israel is participating in an operation against the Islamic Republic in Iran, and we're all hoping that Israel help Iranians to get their freedom back, get their country back, reclaim their country from the criminal government that rules there. And also Purim. And Shushandokht character is very important. And it was, as I was doing some research for this episode, one of the important things that she did, she was the queen, she was the wife of King Yazdegerd I, and also mother of Bahram Gur. There's a little interesting twist in the name of Bahram Gur. Gur in Persian has two meanings. One is a zebra, and the other meaning is the grave. And you can see in some episodes I have to explain to you why Farsi or Persian is Indo-European, and I walk you through all the roots of a lot of words that come from it's common between today's Latin-based languages like English, French, Spanish, and even today's Farsi or Persian. Gur is grave, one of those things. And there is a famous poem in Shahnameh which says Bahram, who was a hunter hunting gur or zebras, finally he was hunted by the gur, which is the grave. So there is a twist, and you get a lot of these things in Persian language. One word plays the two different roles same pronunciation and everything is the same. So Shushana is the mother of Bahram Gur and the wife of Yazgir I. She was not hiding. She was not hiding her faith. She was Jewish, and she was not saving her people, starting a miracle, and having a tradition like we observe for Esther. But what she did was she used her influence, and the most important thing which she did, and it's very close to my personal life, is that she established a Jewish neighborhood in Isfahan. And here where it becomes very interesting. My mother's side of the family are from Isfahan, Jewish from Isfahan. I have walked that neighborhood thousands of times from very, very young age. I knew that. The word at the time when I was in Iran, it was called Mahalle, which means ghetto. It was literally ghetto. But in fact, when Shushana started that place, which is almost 1500 years ago now, that neighborhood was still there, and it was a place for Jews to live not hidden from the rest of the society, freely live there, have their businesses, and have a normal life there under the protection of the queen. And in fact, even when you look at the history of Iran, from the time that Jews started coming to the scene, it's after expulsion of Jews from Israel and exile in Babylon. Cyrus the Great comes, he conquers the Babylon, frees the Jews, and tells them to go back to your country. And a lot of them stay in Persia, some go and return to Persia, and Iran becomes a land of many freedoms that in today's world we consider them to be very advanced, such as freedom of religion and freedom of practicing whatever traditions they had. And Jews were not exception from this, and they participated heavily in daily life of Persians or Iranians. Every time I talk about historical relations between Iranian and Jews, that's what I refer to. So just consider this. Between Esther and Shushandokht, there is almost a millennia. There is almost 1,000 years. And from the time of Shushana, when she established Isfahan's Jewish neighborhood, until today, that's another 1,500 years. So you see how resilient the Judaism has been in Iran, how long they have lived in Iran. Despite everything else that happened to the Jews in other parts of the world, including Europe, including even Asia Minor, Israel, wherever they were, but they always lived in Iran in relative to complete freedom. And that's what created this connection between Persians and Jews. I remember, I have many stories to tell you about being in Isfahan with my mother in Jewish mahalle or Jewish ghetto or Jewish neighborhood. There are still some of those homes there. Obviously, they are not from 1,500 years ago, but there are some structures from that very time. And Shushandokht, I had to mention this name because it shows the connection between the two nations and the influence of these two women in the fate of Jewish people in different ways, where Esther probably was part of a revolution in a way when you read the story of Esther. On the other hand, Shushandokht, she is someone who steps up and creates a better life for Jewish communities in Iran, and especially Isfahan, which at the time it was called Espadana. So tomorrow is Purim. Happy Purim. And remember another Jewish princess, or queen in fact, Queen Shushandokht of Persia, which is very well known to most Jews around the world. I hope this episode helped you to, if you didn't know Shushandokht, you know Shushandokht, and you know there are more than one amazing and influential woman, Jewish woman in history of Persia, which either saved their nation or helped them to build better life in Persia. And there are still Jews living in Iran. Thank you very much, and until the next time,